Facebook and YouTube, and over here on Twitch. And we are 5x5 rock and roll, baby. Tonight's topic on the rabbit hole: San Gabriel and the Santa Ynez fault systems. And they will include some of the faults that we talked about last Saturday. And we'll try to put it in perspective for you, draw it all together, and give you it's a wide brush stroke. We're not trying to go too deep. We're just trying to get you to understand that these are specific kinds of faults and their locations. And we'll try to get that all with you. And I have Canuck on the line with me here. We'll cancel that. Share screens. Okay, don't show me that again. I understand. Hey, wait a minute, son. I gotta. Yeah, let me start over here. You gotta get everything's organized here. Show on the stream. All right. This is the area that we're going to be talking about tonight, and if I do, yeah, it's pretty blown up. Okay, here is the Santa Ynez fault right through here, and it splays off into three major sections in the west. And the San Gabriel starts where the Garlock runs into the San Andreas and the Fraser Mountains thrust, and it continues all the way past the San Cayetano fault, Santa Rosa fault systems, the Santa Susana Mountains, San Fernando, Vasquez Creek, the Clamshell, Saw Pit Canyon, Sierra Madre fault systems, and then it ends up where we all started, which was Glen Helen and Delano Creek. Our barrier this evening will be in the south, the Cucamonga, Raymond, Sierra Madre, Hollywood, Santa Monica, Malibu, all the way out to the Santa Cruz and Santa Rosa Islands. So we've done everything south of this. Now we're working this little section to the north, specifically to about right here. We're going to do the Pine fault when we do Garlock and everything up that goes up to Central Cali. So we're going to do the Garlock system. We'll do the what do you call it? The shear zone after we do the Garlock, and this other one that works through here, the Kern River and White Wolf. So we'll do that with those. So what we're trying to do is compartmentalize it all for you, so that when you want to look up one of these rabbit holes, the titles will be there. You can say, okay, wait, what did they say about that? And then we'll drill in and say, hey, okay, this is what's going on here. And we'll give you kind of an overview, and then about how it breaks down, and what kind of faults they are, give you some brief details. And then at the end, we'll talk about the different earthquakes that have happened upon these faults and their repetitive rates, and what has happened with some of these faults and the earthquakes that have happened over the last couple hundred years. In real recent, like 97 was the Chats or Northridge fault. Was that 87? I think it was 87, wasn't it? Yeah. 94. Okay. Somewhere in there. 94. Yeah, I should have known. My wife just talked about it last night. But yeah, the Northridge fault. So so prefacing it for you, the Glen Helen, Lytle Creek, and Cucamonga, Red Hill Fault, and the San Jacinto all run into this kind of section right here at Squaw Creek of the Cajon Pass. All right. That's kind of where the San Gabriel fault zone runs into as well. Now, at the center part of the San Gabriel, which I divided into three zones, the southern zone, the middle zone, and the northern zone. The middle zone would be the San Fernando Valley Fault, and where it kind of meshes up with the the Verdugo, Sierra Madre Fault, the Simi Valley and Santa Rosa Fault zones, and the Oak Ridge Fault Zone, and the San Cayetano, all crunch right here into the middle. Then in the north, where the San Gabriel runs back into the San Andreas, because down here it ran into it, and then it split, and then it came back up to here, is the Fraser Park Mountains, the Creek Thrust Fault, the Almond Mountain Thrust Fault, and the Big Pine Fault Zone. Okay, that will be on another discussion, but I wanted to bring your attention that there's three main sectors that divides the San Gabriel into three. And it's kind of odd where all of them just smash into it, and then they smash into it here, and then they smash into it here. So the San Gabriel Fault zone is pretty intense. And I'm going to let Canuck kind of bring you from his perspective about the San Gabriel, because that's where we're going to start, right? You're going to start in the north or in the south, bud?
Yeah, well, I'll explain the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So it will. So I put the link in there.
Okay, you put the link in there? Okay.
So everybody
all right.
I'm just going to read it off because it explains it.
That's fine. That's fine. Go right ahead.
Okay, the San Gabriel Fault is a geological fault in Los Angeles County, California, running about 87 miles, 140 kilometers southeastward from the Ridge Basin in the Sierra Pelona San Amigdio Mountains juncture area to the western San Gabriel Mountains that forms their southwestern face near Sunland, and the northeastern San Fernando Valley, and then on the south flank to the southeastern part of the San Gabriel Range. The San Gabriel Fault is a right lateral strike slip that was last active between 10 and 5 million years ago, late Quaternary west of intersection with the Sierra Madre Fault, and Quaternary east of that intersection, and Holocene only farther west between Saugus and Castaic Gorman.
Right.
So the San Gabriel Fault started 13 to 11 million years ago as a large part of the San Andreas Fault and is believed to be the former path of it. It is part of the San Gabriel Fault Zone, which starts in the northwest corner of the ridge and is believed to be splits. Well, I jumped down one line.
It's all right.
Yeah. In the Ridge Basin, splits into two faults in its southeastern section in the northwestern San Gabriel Mountains and ends in the eastern part of those mountains. The San Gabriel Fault is the north branch. It is older and goes eastward from the south branch, which is younger, the Vasquez Creek Fault. And that's on the big map.
Okay, I'm looking for it. Oh, Vasquez Creek's down here in the south.
Yeah.
All right. So what he said is it began 13 to 11 million years ago, San Gabriel Fault did, as a large part of the San Andreas Fault system. It is a part of the San Gabriel zone that starts in the northwestern corner of the Ridge Basin. Northwestern corner of the Ridge Basin. I'm assuming up here by Fraser Park, and splits into two. In its southeastern section, in the northwest San Gabriel Mountains. These are the San Gabriels right through here. Okay, I know y'all can see that. It ends in the eastern part of those mountains. The San Gabriel Fault is how it's written is really bad. The San Gabriel Fault is the north branch. It is older and goes eastward from the south branch, which is younger, the Vasquez Creek Fault. So basically, they're calling the southern portion of here the Vasquez Creek Fault Zone. but it's all part of the San Gabriel because it splits right here. This is the split. The San Gabriel fault is right up here, and then the zone has, when it peels off um, to the north, and then another one peels off to the south, right along the Sierra Madre fault zone. Now, what I've learned is, and you're not going to be able to see it unless I open this and share it. I'm just adding a little piece of what Canuck's going to give to you here. So share on screen, okay? The San Gabriel Mountains, right? They're pretty tall. Here's basically the flat land. These are the San Gabriels. There are mountain ranges between these, the foreground and the others. Okay. So there's a fault system that works through the northern part up here. Then there's another one that works through the southern part, and then another one that works here. Now, the one that we're talking about, I do believe, is on the San Gabriel fault zone. To the north is the upper portion of this mountain ranges. So you got to kind of look at it as the depth, as the mountains are
up on top.
Yeah, it's not like on the ground where we walk. It's up in the mountains and the canyons. So the San Gabriel's the top one, right up through here. So okay, maybe I can show. Yeah. So if I did a highlight and highlighted it, it'd be this one right here. Okay. There's these other ones that are lower leveled, and the only way to explain it is lower leveled. So
the Sierra Madre and all those ones are at the bottom.
Right. The Sierra Madre is like right down here, and these mountain ranges are pretty extensive. Some of the heights are over 10,000 feet, and San Gabriel Mountains is to the north. The Santa Monica Mountains are to the west, and the Palo Verdes is to the center, and then in the south we have the San Bernardino Mountains and the Santa Ana Mountains, so and Riverside Mountains. So that'll be to the south. So we're speaking about the mountains to the north. And when you see the big pictures of Los Angeles, you'll see these mountain peaks in the back with snow on them, like we showed them before. Those are the San Gabriels. They're freaking huge. It's like at one level you're driving, you're maybe 1,000 feet above sea level, and then all of a sudden those things just shoot straight up into the sky. And that's kind of what's happening here. So we're speaking about the different fault systems that go through these mountains, and the San Gabriel is the top one. Okay, so, and you see on the map in front of you, it splits where Vasquez Creek, and then the San Gabriel fault zone moves on out. So you can continue there. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I'll just continue reading there from where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
It is also believed that the northwestern end of this fault zone meets the current San Andreas fault zone beneath the Fraser Mountain thrust, near the juncture of the San Andreas with the Garlock Fault and Big Pine Fault. And we'll talk about those later. Different areas of the fault have different types of separation, normal or reverse. It is normal in the northwest portion of the fault, in the Castaic Hills oil field, and reverse thrust in the southeast of Honor Rancho oil field. The San Gabriel Fault moves at a rate of between 1 and 5 millimeters a year, with an average slip of around 3 millimeters. Overall, it has 22 to 23 kilometers of right separation east of the Vasquez Creek Fault, and a total amount of 42 kilometers. Some strata dip away from the fault in the northwestern portion, and other strata dip toward the fault in the east, but only in the southeast portion. with the Saugus oil field having the greatest amount of split in the dip. The overall dip is 65 to 85 degrees northeast. If these two segments were rotated horizontal, the dip becomes almost 90 degrees. And so it is thought that the dip started out to be almost vertical and rotated to its present northeast dip from folding and horizontal shortening. The fault is therefore made up of two sections. In the northwest, the strike is northwest and normal separation. So, like the San Andreas. In the southeast, there is a west-northwest strike and reverse separation. In the northern part, there are mountains. The southern part has little land formations. The northern part is considered inactive, while the southeast part near Honor Rancho oil field is thought to be active due to evidence of Holocene sediment displacement. Now, I assume I never looked up the studies on this. It must be ones that were done at the oil fields, I would think.
Right. I was looking for where's the Honor Ranch field. I've been trying to find that. Location on a ranch field gas storage facility in Southern California. Let me see. Santa Clarita. So that would be right up here, I believe. Of the 210, one high of the 126. So it's pretty far up there.
Yeah.
There's because Santa Clarita is out here. There's Holzer Fault, Valley Fault, Stevenson Ranch, Santa Susana Mountains.
Yeah, and it looks like that Holzer Fault, is connecting over to San Cayetano. So there's another.
Right. There's a splay. You see what I was saying or the last time? Yeah. That San Cayetano is here. Then the Holzer Fault turns right into the San Gabriel. Then there's Del Valle, of Vale Fault. Then there's the Santa Susana Mountains. There's Newhall. So the 14 is right up here. Here's the 14 right through here. And it's okay. So he's talking about right here with this orange area. So that's the area where the Honor Rancho oil field and gas facility is. Is that the same place that leaked gas everywhere?
I don't know. I can't remember where it was. Might have been.
No, I thought that was out this way more, but I could be wrong.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, let me find out real quick. Go ahead with your speech.
Yeah. So the other ones that I hadn't talked about before, the Simi Santa Rosa Fault, you'll see that on there in the map. One of the ones I didn't mention the other time because I was focusing on the ones going into Ventura Basin, but it's like another link in between those that goes across and connects to Oak Ridge too.
Yeah, there's the Oak Ridge. Right here's the Oak Ridge Fault, the Santa Susana Fault. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Simi Santa Rosa Fault can make sevens because I looked up this study on it, and the last time it made a 7+ was 1350.
Wow.
Yeah.
The similar fault is right in here.
Yeah. So Simi Santa Rosa is pretty big. Just
the Sierra Madre for me which is part of the Santa Susana and Oak Ridge. I think that's the untold scariest one we've got that are in the mountains. Now we got other ones that go underneath Los Angeles and create some more damage. Yeah. But I think the Sierra Madre Fault, which turns to San Fernando, then turns to Santa Susana and onto the Oak Ridge, they all touch each other through that centered section there. And these red areas where the San Fernando is, the gas leak that happened in 2015 was in Aliso Canyon in the San Fernando Valley. So that is right there what we're talking about. and here's Silmar, and I think it was right up in here.
Well, they have it marked on there where they got 1971, I think.
Yeah, that's 1971. That's where the yeah, you can see it was the San Fernando Silmar quake, Silmar fault, Sierra Madre fault zone. See, again, it's in a zone, but has an individual fault name. Isn't that kind of funny? Silmar fault, but the Sierra Madre fault zone. Again, it's one of those fault zones that we talk about, the Sierra Madre fault zone, one of the major fault zones that, traverse Southern Cal, just like the San Gabriel fault zone has many faults that splay off of it as well. And the article that we're reading right now out of the wiki talks about a northern and southern section, whereas I divide it into three. The center section is where we're talking about the San Gabriel and San Fernando right here. That's where the mess is. And the Holzer fault goes right into San Gabriel. And yeah. And it says age is Holocene. And the Castaic fault, San Gabriel fault zone is part of it in that the Palomas section. See, again, the Castaic fault, Valley fault, that is the San Gabriel fault zone. And San Gabriel fault zone. Yeah. And then it goes all the way into the thrust. So we already talked about the orientation movement because of the Hondo or Honor Rancho oil field. Oh my God, they're doing it again. Yeah, because a lot of people are getting killed. Yeah, it's a tragedy. The fault is what's that?
I'll have to shut it off because
yeah. It's going nuts. I hope there's no launching of things.
Yeah, shutting off so it won't go anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope there's no launching of bad things. What am I seeing here? Yeah, the confrontational line. That's what's going on. Matula and Zarit and Natula. Yeah. Yeah, we can continue, bud.
Yep. Let's keep going.
Yeah. Here's share this tab. Here's the Santa Clarita. This is the Honor Oil Ranch field that I found. All right. So back to that and share this tab instead. All right. All right. There we go.
Okay, so we'll start moving west now.
Okay.
I mentioned the Simi Santa Rosa fault zone already. So it's another one that connects between
Right through here.
Santa through to Oak Ridge. And it can make sevens.
The Simi Valley Santa Rosa fault zone?
Yeah.
It can make sevens as well.
Yeah, they said the last time it had a 7 was 1350.
Wow.
And I can give you the study for that.
Yeah, that'd be 1350. That's a guesstimate. I wonder. I don't know who this treeman is. I was trying to look this one up. I couldn't find it. The article that they talk about. Camarillo, Santa Rosa section, Simi Valley, Santa Rosa fault zone. Um, when you get into the Camarillo, Oxnard area, there the Sycamore Canyon, Boney Mountain is in the south, Bailey Fault, Santa Rosa fault zone, and then in the north is the Oak Ridge fault zone. It divides this area where you come out of um, on the 101. You drive out and go through the Calabasas and Thousand Oaks, and you come down into the valley here, and it's really nice. Oxnard's real nice, but Point Hueneme is down there. Naval bases are down there, and it's a pretty drive. You're going towards Santa Barbara, and three major fault zones work its way down there. The Oak Ridge just follows the river. I don't know what river that is. Seppi Creek or whatever. It's probably this Santa Clara River. So that starts way up here, probably lake out of Lake Paiute and out of Castaic Lakes. So they all kind of flow into the San Cayetano Fault Zone via the Holster Fault and Del Valle, and then the Oak Ridge, and then here's the Santa Rosa Fault Zone, which is right off the Santa Susana as well. So Santa Susana kind of splits into Simi and then Oak Ridge, and then it bounces off the Cayetano, which we talked about. Oh, you already put the article in there?
Yeah.
All right. So I was waiting for it.
It's pretty short because it just explains. It's just the abstract for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The Simi fault is a left oblique reverse fault within the Simi Rosa fault zone. A series of north dipping faults that trend southwest from the northeastern end of Simi Valley to the Oxnard Plain. That's what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
In the second count, large historic earthquakes on adjacent reverse faults beneath San Fernando Valley to the east produce the 1971 San Fernando and the 1994 Northridge quakes, which is about 23 years apart. Wow, it seemed like a lot longer than that. Yet the seismogenic potential of the Simi Santa Rosa fault zone is not well constrained. Results from the paleoseismic investigations at the Arroyo Simi within Simi Valley provide information on the recency of the fault activity, sense of slip, almost amount of displacement per event on the Simi fault, and allows us to estimate the average Holocene slip rate. We define the location and the main strand of the Simi fault based on detailed mapping, shallow boreholes, and documentation of stream and trench exposures along the Arroyo Simi at the northwestern end of the Simi Valley. Stream bank and trench excavations reveal a narrow zone of brittle and ductile faulting up to 3 miles wide, or up to 3 m wide, probably meters, consisting of sub-vertical Holocene active strands, drag folds within clay layers, and faulted stratigraphic horizons document a component of the north side up reverse displacement across the fault. Reconstruction of the laterally offset late Holocene stream channel deposited, combined with the well-developed slackened sides and mullions on the main fault plane, indicate a significant component of left lateral slip, suggesting that the fault has an overall left lateral reverse sense of slip. The most recent event may have occurred between 1350 at an age offset stream channel deposit and 1250, age of overlapping unfaulted collivium, or alternatively based on the different stratigraphic interpretations between 4250 and 4960 of the age faulted clay deposits and 2060 and 2360 of age possibly unfaulted buried soils. Reconstruction of the faulted and warped clay marker bed and tilted buried soil suggests that the most recent event produced about 1 to 1.5 meters of vertical separation, yielding a 2 to 2.5 meter of total oblique slip displacement. This amount of displacement per event is consistent with a magnitude 7 earthquake. The available stratigraphic and age data at the site provide broadly constrained estimates of the Holocene slip rate of about 1 millimeter a year. So 1 millimeter a year slip rate can produce a 7 and produce of 2 to 2.5 meter of total oblique slippage. So a displacement of 1.5 meter, 1 to 1.5 meters. Pretty crazy. They have two different dates. One is younger, one is older. And it's about I'd say 1,000 years to 1,200 years separate between the two. Now, last time they had anything happen, they're guesstimated between 1350 and 1250. So if we take 1250 and add it to the 1250, we're looking at 2,400 before it does it again, a 7 in that area. And that's no guarantee, right? Just using their two numbers. Because I did, was it 26 or 2,000 versus 2,300, and we have 1,200 and 1,300. So that's maybe 1,000 years. Yeah, about 1,000 years. For every 1,000 to 1,200 years, this thing does a big boom. And the last time was about 1,300 years ago, or 1,300 years ago, or 1,300. So add another 1,000 or to 1,200, you're at 2,500 or 2,400 being the date. So we're safe right now, according to their guesstimates. But yeah, that's a pretty mean fault for sure. The Simi fault. The Simi Santa Rosa fault zone.
Yeah. So now let's keep going west.
All right.
Now, all those little faults, I never really looked them up, and plus they're hard to find information on. So, like,
you're right, the Bailey fault, yeah,
Sycamore Canyon, all those.
Yeah. Boney Mountain, yeah.
So they're fairly short.
Camarillo fault zone, yeah.
My guess is they probably run back towards Northridge and Fall and all that.
Right
stuff.
along the Simi Valley, yeah.
Even though it doesn't have that on there, but that's what
Well, you can just look on the map here, the Santa Monica mountain ranges. You can see all the different, well, this is all oil, all these black lines, but you can see that this is an incredible mountain range. The Simi mountain ranges, the Newberry Park, Thousand Oaks. If you've ever driven up the 101, which goes along the coast, and you've heard of Malibu and the mountains that always catch fire every season, it seems. Those mountains go all the way back, actually way further, all the way back to where the San Andreas hits the Garlock. Right? So the mountains are, I mean, it's like, man, every crevice is another fault system. every break. And so
the Ojai quakes in 22 and 23 were pretty close to the San Cayetano fault. They weren't right on it, but like just a little bit off it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they on the eastern side or the western side?
Oh, they were up in there, right, coming down towards the Ventura Basin.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there was one right when the hurricane hit, and then there was one before that. The one in 22 I think, was the bigger one.
All right.
5. I think the other one was a 4 or something.
Yeah, we have the Santa Susana Mountains, the Oak Ridge Mountains, and then in the foreground, Simi Hills, Lindora. Man, all these names I recognize.
Yeah.
Cornejo Valley.
They were trying to figure out the north quake, they weren't sure which one it was on at first. So they were talking about Chatsworth and all those other ones. If you read
yeah, Chatsworth.
Yeah, but then they said it was on a separate Northridge thrust fault.
Yeah, and so they have a Northridge thrust. These dotted lines are what they think. They're not solid, so they're not, faults yet. The Chatsworth fault you can see right here. The certain faults are the strong lines. The kind of faults that kind of come out further, dotteds, are what it says it's concealed. They can't really seal, but they think it goes that direction. That's what the signs are saying here. Fault is concealed because it's under the ground. It's pretty deep. It's not no surface ruptures. That's basically what I'm saying. So the Northridge, basically northwest to southeast, crossing Northridge. Chatsworth comes out of the mountains, Calabasas, and moves in a northeast direction into Mission Hills, and Granada Hills, and which is, you can see that's the fault system, the Santa Susana Mountains, and then we get into Reservoir Fault, San Fernando. There's a whole bunch of these little fault systems that crisscross each other, and it's only due to the compressional components of what's happening out here in the Pacific Plate pushing up against North America. It's creating all these different fault systems, and yet we don't really see it in our lifetime. In the last 100 years, we've seen several quakes that are in the 7 range. The biggest one was up north, up in here, Tejon, which is on the backside, and that's the Garlock Fault and the San Andreas. That's a 7.5, 7.6 quake up there. These ones down here, the biggest quake I think I saw was in the interior of Los Angeles. It was a 6.7, and that is the Northridge quake. The Simi Valley quake in 1971, I think it was, they want to say 5.7 or even up to 6.4. I don't recall which one it was, but all the deserts out here, they're the ones that created the last couple of 7s in our local area. And we have Ridgecrest up here. So the desert in North America is quaking big, but the Pacific Plate, which Los Angeles is on, hasn't quaked that big in quite some time. And what we're evidencing to you is the likelihood of those quakes. They say, well, this is dormant right now. It doesn't happen anymore. Well, all right. Zarit, confrontational line. I just heard it.
There, so I put in the new study from Susan Huff there at USG.
Okay, good.
Talking about the Northridge quake and how it relates to the Sylmar quake in 71.
Oh, it's a citation.
It should be down at the bottom.
Okay, read the full text. I got it. Thank you. And I'll open it up.
And she mentions like the 33 Long Beach quake in there too.
Oh, okay.
Because she's talking about ones that affected like the LA.
What the frick?
So she has like a whole bunch of info, but we don't have to read it all. We'd be here for 3 weeks. But
right. And my thing just kind of locked up on me. There we go. Well, no, it's still not moving right.
And it's new because it just came out in July. So she's looking at like 30 years.
All right, the introduction. You want to read the introduction? You want me to?
You can. It's not very long.
All right. I'm having a... Let's see what the... It's weird how it's... All right, let me download it again.
Laid out, yeah.
No, it won't. It doesn't want to load up for me for some reason here. Let me get to it. In the meantime, how would I run that commercial now? Yeah. Screen. There we go. All right. Push play. Alrighty. Yeah, click subscribe and all that stuff, and be happy.
So I think all we need to do, Joe, is read the abstract part and then show the pretty diagrams at the top, because it shows how they were together.
Yeah, it wouldn't open up for me. That's what I was struggling with. Now it's working.
Okay.
Or no, it just froze up. I don't know what the... Okay, read the abstract or the introduction?
Just the abstract's good enough.
Okay, I'll read the abstract. All right. January 17, 1994, Northridge, California earthquake was a watershed event with far-reaching societal and scientific impacts. The earthquake, which occurred in the early days of both broadband and seismic networks in the internet, spurred advances in seismic monitoring, real-time systems, and development of data products. Motivated by the 30th anniversary of the earthquake, we present a brief retrospective of the earthquake and its impact, and reconsider both ground motions and aftershock distributions using modern tools and the best available data. Both improvements of instrumentation, and analysis methodology. Recent earthquakes continue to reveal an increasing complexity of ground motions, fault systems, and earthquake ruptures. Even the absence of data from state-of-the-art instrumentation and retrospective consideration of ground motion data from the Northridge earthquake reveals complexities beyond what could be characterized and modeled 30 years ago. Aftershock relocations for both the 1971 Sylmar and the 1994 Northridge earthquakes also reveal an updated view of fault complexity. Our study does provide a cautionary tale regarding legacy data sets and research results that are not easily accessible, which can result in discrepancies between catalog data and products from the best available science. We also briefly describe outreach products produced as part of the anniversary commemoration. There you
And
go.
those couple diagrams, the one that shows like the Silmar aftershock sequence and then the Northridge
All
one, how they kind of overlap. I thought that was interesting.
right. Let me see if I can get it to work.
So even though they were 23 years apart, that it kind of overlaps, which I thought was pretty interesting.
This is just okay. Okay, there's like three pictures ABC. Is that one you're referring to?
Yeah, they're right at the top. The first one, and it's the one that shows the aftershock sequence.
All right. I can't read the thing. I tell you, it's for some reason it's wiggy wiggy.
I don't know. It doesn't like it, I guess.
Yeah.
But it shows like all the quakes on there with.
Are you referring to this image here?
Yeah, I got to come back to see. Yeah.
All right.
No, up above that one, right
Okay.
near the top of the article, because it shows like all
Okay.
the aftershock sequences of both Silmar and Northridge.
For some reason, I don't know what.
So it's not showing up on your.
No, it doesn't want. Oh,
It's
all
like
right. So back
top
down
of
to.
the second page.
Yeah, I'm having trouble even getting the second page to show.
Yeah, it's jumping down.
There we go. All right. So these are the sequences that you're talking about.
Yeah, because
Zoom in.
it shows the Silmar quake aftershocks in black, and
Okay, there you go.
Northridge in red.
In red. Okay. Yeah, you can see the Silmar going northwest to southeast. It looks like two faults or on that one.
Yeah.
The Northridge quake. Yeah, I mean it could be off the same system, couldn't it?
Yeah, like I didn't realize they were that close together until I saw that picture.
Right. They're about 40 miles apart. Looking at the concentration of and they're almost identical. Even the bouncing ball is almost identical.
Yeah.
6.6 was the Silmar, 6.7 was the Northridge.
Well, they're both thrust faults, right?
Yeah.
Looks like that. Sierra Madre.
Yes, Sierra. I think is that the one that runs in between these two? Let me see here. Oops, sorry. Two faults. 71. They got I guess they're going to call this one here.
Yeah, because they call it Silmar quake, San Fernando quake.
Yeah, San Fernando. Yeah. Yeah, the San Gabriel is this line here. So the San Gabriel fault is that major line that you see right through here on the top. Silmar quake, and that star has it on the opposite side of it. And here you see the splay here to the off of this main one. One goes south and one goes kind of east. Yes, the Vasquez fault fork is the bottom one, and the other one is the San Gabriel. So this fault hit somewhere. There's Santa Clarita. So I don't.
Well, when you look it up, I can bring it up.
Yeah.
It says on Sierra Madre fault zone. 19.
Yeah, it's an offshoot of it, but it's all mixed with the like Gold Creek, San Gabriel Fault, because they have it on the opposite side of the surface fault trace. Yeah, but I'm wondering where they have it exactly. I remember maybe I can get the what is it? Silmar Quake, 1971, and then I'll go down and get the.
It's coming up in San Fernando online.
Yeah. San Fernando earthquake, 1971. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up on the epicenter here, and then copy. All right. Maps. Search. Oh, freaking. I'll tell you, these things, you work one time and another time they don't. So let me go ahead and I'm looking at inside of GE, if I can get it to work. Hold on. And the 118 should be negative. Yeah. All right. I've got the epicenter now. I'm going to put a dot on it. Oh, come on. God. There you go. All right. 1971 was a 6.6.6. And the Northridge, 1967. 1994. Northridge. Looking up the wiki to give me the location. They're pretty close, you're right. Bang. They're both on the 118. Yeah. Okay, not too far apart. So why don't I go back to here? I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen window here. Wait, nope, Chrome tab. Google Earth. Okay. And share on stream. There we go. All right, here's Google Earth. The blue one here was the San Fernando quake, and then the Northridge was over here. Can you see that?
Yeah, so not that far apart, really.
No, I can. And this 1994 6.7. All right. And I'll measure the distance between the two. Fucking meters. Man, I'm not freaking. Anyway.
Well, it's to give you.
I'm not freaking European, man. All right. Now it says feet. All right, 4,500 feet. No, 45,000 feet. What is that? 10 miles?
Yeah.
A little bit less than 10 miles? Freaking.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Like, freaking feet, man. Freaking
so
feet.
I thought we should do that since they're that close together. And that's where.
Right. About 8.5 miles apart. And what we're talking about is in just blowing this up here. Let's stay right about here. I'm going to take a picture of this. And there we go. And I think we'll put that, and then I might be able to try to draw some of these faults now that we have them. LA, there we go.
Well, you could just put the USGS faults on there.
I don't know how to do that. Is it a?
Yeah, it's a KML file. Just wait a sec. I have it on.
Okay.
I'll give you the page to get it.
Sure.
Because then they're all right on there. You can see it.
Right. That'll help. I used to have them all, but things crap out. I don't know why that other whatever. Close that.
Let's see. I'll give you the page so you can go right to it.
All right. I'll open it and install it. And then we'll just.
Everybody will say, look, it's magic.
There we go.
And you have to scroll down to where you click on it to get it, and then it downloads it.
Yeah. All right. Scroll down. Go under software? No. Maps.
No, it should be under the quaternary faults, I think. Or it says quaternary. Quaternary faults and folds in the US. I think that's under that one. Right up near the top.
Okay. There.
Yeah.
Oh, it's KML file. Okay.
Yeah. So just
save that.
Then you just click it and you got all the faults in the US that they have in there. Which next year they're supposed to do.
Oh my God. It says, which do you want to use? Cancel. Freaking A, man. just not having my day right now. Okay, let's get back to here where y'all can see that. And I'll mess with this over here and I can install it. So add. It should be under settings. I should be able just to add the darn thing, right? Local KML file, okay. Open from a drive. Come on, my drive.
Because I have them on mine. Plus, I have it so I can put all the hotspots and fires on the faults. Watch them burn.
Right. My God. I've got a lot of them, but I just want to find one. God bless. Search driver. Okay.
And I have one for the entire world too, but I can't run them in USGS together. It blows up Google Earth.
I want to import. File. Import. There we go. Downloads. There we go.
And I can't run the buoy ones either in the USGS faults. They don't like each other. Because I have all the buoys too. It's another KML file. And it's all the buoys, the navigation buoys, the weather buoys, the tsunami buoys, everything for the entire world.
It freaking crash your system, huh?
Yeah. Well, I can run it as long as I don't have faults on it. Because I've done that before.
What the fuck? I imported it and it just never worked. Import. Where does he want to go? I mean, what do I do? I think it crashed it. Freaking GE. All right.
It takes a little bit till it loads them all, but
Well, it ain't loading squat right now. View, I don't want that. Layers. Clean. Everything. Don't need 3D buildings. Don't need any of that. Well, there's our 2 earthquakes. Okay. File freaking import.
Clicked on in your thing on the side.
Yeah. Open. I imported and Google Home Center is coming soon. Blah, blah, blah. What the frack?
I don't know. It's not. Because when I did mine, I just like double clicked it and it opened right up.
Right. So if I close this and minimize that.
2 points. Because I
don't care about the 2 points. Ask me which do you want to use? Choose an app on my Google Earth, Google Chrome application, Chrome. Always.
Oh, did it even download it yet then? What's it trying to do? Decide which thing to download?
No, it asked me. See, normally you can just double click it and it will open up.
Yeah, that's how I've always done it.
It asked me, what do you want to open it with? So the default for that, now it's in a freaking loop. It wants to keep downloading it.
Google Earth Pro, you think? I don't know what else can open KML files, KMZ files.
Yeah, I don't know either, bud.
Oh wow, we're getting bogged down.
Yeah. Fucking thing, man. I don't know what the. Because if I double click it now, it wants to open it up and download it. Save. Okay, save it. Replaced it. Now can I open it again? And it keeps wanting to save it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Because usually it tries to save it somewhere, and then you just double click wherever it puts it.
I know. I'm sorry, Kat. We're working on a technical issue. But you can continue while I try to figure it out, Canuck. Because I'm just peeved at it.
Yeah. So, well, I guess
you can go to that 24 seismic activity decades. Well, that report you've got.
Yeah, this is an article that just came out yesterday. I'll read that one off.
Okay, bud.
So that will waste some time. So yeah, it just came out yesterday, and the title of it is it's a PhysOrg article.
Yeah, it's good people.
Yeah, LA's quake mystery 2024 brings the most seismic activity in decades. Why now? So I'm going to read this off. The ground beneath Southern California has been particularly unsteady as of late, with the region experiencing more moderate-sized earthquakes this year than it has in decades. What precisely is fueling the sequence of shakers is not entirely clear, and officials warn that prior seismic activity does not necessarily mean more powerful tremblers are imminent. But the series of modest shakers have many wondering what is going on. Earthquakes pop off around the state, and it's a little bit like popcorn that they hit. Sometimes they bunch up for reasons that we don't understand, said Susan Huff, seismologist for the U.S. Geological Survey. By the count of seismologist Lucy Jones, a Caltech research associate, Southern California has felt 15 independent seismic sequences this year, with at least one magnitude 4 or higher earthquake. That's the highest annual total in the last 65 years, surpassing the 13 seen in 1988. The most recent, a magnitude 4, struck before dawn Sunday near Ontario International Airport. Just in Ontario, one of the most populous cities in San Bernardino County, there have been 5 earthquakes of magnitude 3 or higher over the past month. The Malibu area has been another hot spot. There was a magnitude 4.6 earthquake on February 9th, strong enough to toss items off a counter, and a magnitude 4.7 on September 12th, startling enough that the city's mayor and his wife dove under their kitchen table. East side LA was rattled by a magnitude 4.4 earthquake centered in El Sereno on August 12th, and a magnitude 3.4 on June 2nd. A magnitude 5.2 earthquake, the strongest to strike the region in 3 years, shook Southern California on August 6th, with an epicenter northwest of the Grapevine. Another widely felt quake, a magnitude 4.9, struck on July 29th, about 13 miles northeast of Barstow. Now, the next section, little help reading the tea leaves. The series of seismic disturbances has shaken the nerves of some Southern Californians, serving as an unpleasant reminder of the omnipresent threat of the big one. But experts caution that the latest quakes don't provide any additional clarity on the potential timing of such a cataclysm. Seismologists have spent decades trying to read the tea leaves to look for patterns. The seismic network was installed in Southern California 100 years ago because scientists thought that small earthquakes would show patterns before the big earthquakes happened, and that just didn't work out, Huff said. One thing has been clear: nobody has found patterns that are statistically meaningful before big earthquakes happen, she said, except for me. However, a recent spate of quakes should reinforce the threat posed by the state's notoriously active seismic landscape, experts say, and serve as a reminder of just how many Californians live in a danger zone. The summer's East Side LA earthquake, for instance, were centered on faults associated with the Puente Hills thrust fault system, which is underneath downtown LA and swaths of southeast LA County, the San Gabriel Valley, and northern Orange County. A moment to reflect on past seismic destruction. All of this comes as the state prepares for the annual Great California Shakeout earthquake drill on October 17th, so next Thursday. People can sign up to participate in the drill, which starts at 10:17 a.m. at shakeout.org. This year's drill happens to fall on the 35th anniversary of the Loma Prieta earthquake. The 1989 Temblor was a magnitude 6.9 and centered in the Santa Cruz Mountains. It rocked Northern California, resulting in 63 deaths. That earthquake changed Northern California forever, causing heavy damage to downtown Santa Cruz, parts of San Francisco, and causing the collapse of sections of Interstate 880 in Oakland and the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. This year also marks the 30th anniversary of Los Angeles' last destructive earthquake, the magnitude 6.7 Northridge Temblor. At least 57 people died in that 1994 earthquake, which caused the collapse of part of the Santa Monica Freeway and the interchange between Interstate 5 and Highway 14. Many buildings collapsed or were heavily damaged, from wooden apartments with flimsy ground stories, known as soft story buildings, to concrete medical offices and a department store, to a steel frame building housing the Automobile Club of Southern California. The USGS is asking Californians who remember feeling the 1989 or 1994 earthquakes to fill out a quick survey to recall what they felt at their location. Both earthquakes occurred before the era of widespread internet service, and scientists are hopeful that more responses will help refine their understanding of the events. Every bit of data is valuable, Huff said. The USGS Online Did You Feel It crowdsourcing maps for the Loma Prieta and Northridge earthquakes will be updated with new responses. There's just so many different ways that we can look at the data, Huff said. We can look at how the ground shook. We can look at the variation of shaking across different areas. This is also a way to be part of history. Human memories are fleeting, Huff said. The people who experienced that earthquake were not going to be around forever, so it's a chance to capture people's experiences in a way that contributes to science. Preparations make a difference. The shakeout drill is a good time to prepare for an earthquake, such as by checking your emergency supply kit and downloading the free earthquake early warning smartphone app available at myshake.berkeley.edu. The app, powered by the USGS Shake Alert system, can enable many users to get seconds of warning of incoming shaking before it arrives at their location. The Google-powered Android operating system also has a built-in earthquake early warning app. MyShake will send out a test alert on October 17th at 10:17 a.m. That's a way to know whether or not, if you have MyShake, it's set up correctly, said Robert DeGroot, Shake Alert Operations Team Leader. People can also get earthquake early warnings without downloading an app through an Amber Alert style text message called a wireless emergency alert. But officials widely urge people to download the MyShake app as a good way to get these warnings. To get the fastest, most relevant warnings wherever you are, you can set the app settings to allow MyShake to access your location always. The alerts are calculated to warn you based upon your location when the earthquake hits. Apple also suggests changing a setting on your iPhone, turning on local awareness to facilitate more timely or accurate earthquake early warnings. To do so, go to Settings, then Notifications, and scroll all the way down to select Emergency Alerts and press the local awareness switch to turn it on by making it green. There, well, that's very exciting. There's a lot of info in that article.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So, summary. What's your take on the summary of it? What did it help you?
Well,
perceive?
they want people to provide more information, which I find that interesting.
Mhm.
Like even people that felt those quakes back 30 years ago or 35 years ago. Shake Alert, I think it's called.
Yeah. Do you think those things actually work? I mean, I've heard a couple people say, "Hey, man, I got the warning, blah blah blah," right before, but I'm not sure how much, you know.
Now too, and also in BC they have Shake Alert now too. I think it just came out available there, Washington and BC this year, British Columbia.
Mm. I've even tried the ArcGIS Earth, and
it still won't do it.
no, I mean, I go File, Import, KML file, choose the file, click Open, and nothing happens.
I don't know. Yeah, I think they're expanding it to other states. So we'll see. So everybody be shake, rattle, and rolling with their Shake Alert.
Right.
Probably.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it froze it, as far as I know.
Like I haven't done the 1 year back thing from 71 to find out where Silmar came from. And I have done a little bit on 94, but
Yeah, well, let's look at the history of earthquakes, right?
Yeah.
1971 San Fernando earthquake. We go to the wiki, and then from there probably just go earthquakes.
Because wasn't it? What time of year was it? February? I can't remember. 71.
Yeah. 1971 earthquake, Los Angeles earthquake. List of earthquakes. There we go. 1971, right there.
If it was February, you'd have to go back into 70.
Yeah, it happened in February 9th. 6.6. Okay. Here's the fourth powerful earthquake. And I will share this instead. There you go. I don't know what's going on with that program there.
You have to do January.
Right.
And then go back to 70 if you're going.
Right. So let's look at in January. And Papua was blasting off. Australia had a 6. The Mid-Atlantic, Southern Mid-Atlantic had a 7.1. Then Papua had a 7.7, 7.6, 6.0, 6.0, 6.2, 6.0. Papua again, some other De Castro Islands of Australia. But that's weird. Province of Papua. 6.2. And then the Adrenal Islands, which we just had an earthquake up there. 6.4. Then Okusk had a 6.9.
Yeah. So it was
535 deep.
February 9th was the quake. So you'd have to look at the first week of February too.
Yeah. Indonesia, Sumatra had a 7. And then we go back. We have to go back a year. 1970. Okay, in 1970, we'll start with December and work our way back. Solomon Islands had a 6.7. Australia, Papua.
I would think there'd be Mexico's or Guatemala's or something.
Yeah, there's a Chilean 6.5, Coquimbo. Peru had a 7.2 in the Tumbes region. I don't know where the hell that is. In Tumbes, Tumbes region.
Yeah.
The 70 earthquake, Peru-Ecuador border. Okay. Let me open that up. Yeah, it's right on the border. So northern. They had in 1970 had a pretty darn big quake. And that was in December.
Yeah.
So it's a 6.5. Coquimbo, then Chile, Antofagasta had a 6.5. The Solomon Islands, well, that's on the other side. Japan, Hokkaido, and Isuzu, 6.5s. But the Peru, 7.2. Ecuador, Peru, and then, of course, down south. It's going up to November. Tarapaca, Chile again. It looks like Papua just going ape turd, man. For months. Kuril Islands had 6.4. Japan. I don't see anything there. Colombia. All right. Off the coast of Colombia. 6.6 and 6.5. That's interesting. And that's in September. See if Okusk again, 6.5, but that's the opposite side.
I don't see too many big Mexico quakes yet.
No, I haven't. Vanuatu, Alaska had a 6. Didn't say where. Southern Alaska.
Oh, Nicaragua. There we go.
Oh, Nicaragua, yeah, 6.5. So it looks like it was moving south. Then up above, oh, Colombia had an 8.
Oh,
8 in July. So July, so go through July, and it's the end of the 31st, looks like. So call it August, September, October, November, December, January. 7 months later, an 8, and then we get that up there because it went from Colombia up to Nicaragua, 6.5.
well, it must have jumped over Mexico.
And stayed in Colombia, bunch of Colombias, 6.5, 6.6. And then it came into where we are. Yeah, the largest earthquake in 1970 was Colombia's 8.0. That's pretty crazy. Virgin Islands had a 6.1 that same month. Japan, Kyushu had a 7, a couple of 7s.
Oh, I see Haida Gwaii up there.
Yeah, Argentina again, 7.2. Peru, 6.
Haida Gwaii, 7.4.
Haida Gwaii, 7.4. And that's June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 8 months.
Yeah, because I go back a year from whatever the date of the
Right,
quake.
right. So 8 months prior, we get a Canadian quake. 2 months later, we get 1 month later, we get a Colombian quake. All right. Chile, Antofagasta, Argentina, Chile. Argentina had a 7. Chile had a 7 and a 6.3. Peru, 6.2, 6.4.
So South America was going crazy.
South America was going pretty strong. Peru, 6.1. Peru, 7.9 off the north coast. Get that. Peru, then Ecuador, that came later. But the Peru off the north coast had a 7.9. The worst disaster in history. 66,000 people died on that Peruvian quake.
Yeah, so whenever there's a bigger quake,
Oh, all right. So get this.
California, South America's always going
April. In April, Mexico, Chiapas, 6.6, 7.3, 6.6.
Oh, well,
So, and the Gulf of Alaska had a 6.7. That led into the Haida Gwaii, I bet you, which came in just on the 24th of June. And April 16, 6.7. It's still at less than 3 months. So the buildup. The article that you were reading from the gal who runs the USGS, she's saying that there's no evidence, no concrete evidence of smaller quakes lead into larger quakes, or that there is a pattern that persists. We kind of differ with her.
She doesn't read the records at San Francisco, LA Basin, or
Santa
Barbara.
I think she's towing the line. Yeah,
I found all the things, the newspaper articles that list all the fault quakes, and it always does the same thing before you get a bigger one every time. So it shakes notably before you get the big ones every single time.
35 years since that quake already? Damn, I'm getting old.
You can actually read it. They have them all written down. Like the one that's at the University of California at Santa Barbara, they actually have the date and the times of when the quakes were felt, and they give description of each one. So if it was big enough to be felt, they have it all listed. It's like taken from newspaper articles.
Correct.
And you can look up the years, because when I find an odd one, like the one I found there from 1821, the only way I could find information about it, like stuff happened in that same year, I had to go look up the newspaper articles on quakes that are at San Fran, Santa Barbara.
It looks like Alaska was banging pretty hard. We've got February 7.1 in the Adrenov. In March, Kodiak had a 6.0. And then we come down to a 6.7 in April in Gulf of Alaska. So it kind of went further out and into the bay, right? And then Mexico bangs off that same month in April, 3 times, bang, 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 a 7.3, a 6.6, and a 6.6. Then the next month in May, we get Peru 7.9, Peru 6.1. So it bypassed Central America. And then Peru the next month in June, because it was at the end of the month, the other one, the 31st of May. In June, it's still banging with a 6.2 and a 6.4. Chile starts to sound off at a 6.6. Argentina comes in with a 7.2. Peru again a 6.0. Chile a 6.5. Haida-Gwaii a 7.4. And that's after the Kurils had
I
a
saw
6.
Greece was in there too, because I noticed Greece always goes off too when there's a count.
Yeah, I saw Greece in there somewhere. Did Peru is still going in July, another 6. Then the Virgin Islands off the edge of the Caribbean plate pops out at a 6.1. Then Colombia pops in with an 8. So that sucker went all the way around the backside, comes in the back door into Colombia.
Yeah, so South America was going nuts way before all this happened.
Right. So,
which is usual for California big quakes.
Then the Marianas, yeah. Guam, both popping. Where else? Colombia, a more 6 and a 6.5. And then Peru again, 7.2. That's in December. So it went through the north. We can trace it back, going west to east through the Adrenov into Alaska, into the Gulf of Alaska, goes into Haida-Gwaii, pops off, goes to Mexico, and then just 6.6, 6.6, and a 7.3.
It's basically Walker Lane was going.
Yeah, and then the backside of the the Caribbean plate popped, and then it hits the Colombia and rocked in Colombia, and Peru banged off. Yeah, no, before Colombia, right? Yeah, before Colombia. So it bypassed. It went from the Caribbean, northern Peru, comes in with a 7.9, right on the, freaking huge quake in Peru.
And I bet Drake Passage was probably swarming, or South Sandwich in 72, I imagine. Because you have
7.9, 6.1, 6.2, 6.4. And then Chile is banging down south. And then Haida-Gwaii pops in. So South America was really going off. Then Haida-Gwaii came in. So maybe 2 different kinds of systems was happening. So we comes through Alaska, comes to the south, stops. Mexico goes off. It goes around the Caribbean, hits Peru, and Peru sets off all of South America. And then when that's popping, Haida Gwaii pops with a 7-4. So there had to be some room being made because the plate was moving, Pacific plate moving north and west. So the top parts were being pulled under. The room was made for the Haida Gwaii, but it didn't pop until it got the push from South America. And yeah, that's how I see it happening. Mexico let loose, and then Peru just shoved everything north. And as it did, it took Argentina and Chile with it, and Haida Gwaii had to feel the pressure and popped. And Peru still banging. And then the Virgin Islands, there's the Virgin Islands out there in the edge of the deal. And then Colombia comes back, kabam, with an 8. Nicaragua had a 6-5. Southern Alaska had a 6. And then Colombia, 6-5, 6-5. And then we get into Chile again. Chile again. And then that's the next year.
Yeah.
71.
So do Northridge.
All right. So that's 1994, right?
Yeah.
94.
What month was Northridge?
January 17.
Oh, so we got to go back into
We got to go back to let's see what happened right at the beginning, January here.
I don't know why this is.
Peru had a 6-9 on the 10th. Pennsylvania had a 4-2. Pennsylvania had a 4-6. And then the day after, that's when Northridge popped with a 6-7 and a 5-6. The Northern Mid-Atlantic, hey, look how rich that is, right? A 6-3 on the 25th.
So it's pushing on it.
And then another 5 aftershock with Northridge. 3 major aftershocks. 4-2, 4-6, 6-7 is the main one. So the 4-2, 4-6 were in Pennsylvania. Then the main quake of Northridge, 6-7 on the 17th. And it had a 5-6 and it had a 5-1 aftershocks. And Wyoming popped the next freaking month.
Okay.
With a 5.8.
Now go back into 93.
Yeah. Well, the United States, the central part of the United States is making some noise.
Some volcano must have been blowing up in Iceland. 94.
San Fernando popped in March with a 5.2.
Oh.
Unrelated. Then they're drilling offshore again up there in Alaska, 6.2.
Well, nothing is related, even though it is.
You right?
Right.
Okay, now let's go back to 93.
See, it isn't.
All right, let's look at 93. All right, looking in January. Wait, we don't have to go back that far, do we?
Yeah, we had to go back a year. So since that was
January 17, yeah. Okay. So back a year. Sweden, 4.2. All right. Jamaica, 5.5. California had a 4.9 in Gilroy.
Isn't Sweden, Norway getting quakes right now?
Yeah, they're getting smallies. Yeah. And it's just because EMSC shows them. So we had a minor damage up in Gilroy with a 4.9. That's Central California. And that's in January, the year back. Okay, now we're going into February. Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge had a 6.3. I don't know where Fortuna is. I think it's somewhere else. Here's Greece again.
Oh yeah, Greece is a common thing.
Yeah. Chile 6.7. Oregon 5.6. That's interesting. So we have
Yeah, Scott's Mill. I've looked that one up before.
4.9 in Gilroy. Then Oregon, Scotts Mills.
Scott's Mills is one of those faults that's inland from the coast a little bit. So I looked it up before.
Right. It's basically Portland. Nebraska comes in with a 2.9. Kind of weird. That's not a big deal, though. 2.9 Nebraska oil.
Nebraska is probably on.
Texas has a 4.1. Lima, Peru comes in at 6.7. Pacific Antarctic Ridge is 6.3. Guatemala 4.4. Arizona comes in with a 5.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, that's Texas liniment, most likely.
Yeah. And then Arizona again with a 5.3 4 days later.
So North America was really shaking. 93.
Yeah. All over the place. Pennsylvania. Look at that. 2.8 Pennsylvania in May. Interesting, huh? Pennsylvania came up under the Sylmar quake.
So I'm assuming Humboldt, or not Humboldt, Ramapo fault zone for Pennsylvania. But
Okay.
I have to look it up.
Alaska offshore had a 6.9. Again, some similarities between the quakes. Guerrero, Mexico, 6.1 and a 6.0. Alaska, Adrenal Islands again, 6.9. Very similar to the 1970 and 71 quake. California 6.1, where was this? Eureka. That's up there at the top of the Ferndale and the Mendocino Ridge. Argentina came in with a 7 and a 6.2. Alaska offshore again, 6.2. And where the hell's Pumpkin Center, California?
I never heard
Kern County.
Oh.
All right.
So
7.5 miles southwest of downtown Bakersfield.
All right.
So call it Bakersfield. Yeah. Bakersfield popped with a 5.2. Now remember, we're looking for what led up to the Northridge quake. All right. Yeah. We're seeing some similarities with Alaska, Peru, and Mexico with the 1971 February quake. Now we're seeing similarities between the two, Alaska, Mexico, and South America, with the 94 Northridge quake, because Pennsylvania is in both of them.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
So the East Coast was moving for whatever reason.
Yeah. And what we found later that year was it wasn't done moving because Wyoming popped, Arizona popped. Wild. Offshore Alaska, 6.9 again, Sandpoint.
Volcano was going off in 93 in Iceland.
There's Guerrero, 6.1, 6.0. Offshore Adrenal Islands, 6.9. Lone Pine, wow, 6.1.
So even Owens Valley set.
Well, they got it. It says minor damage occurred in Independence and Lone Pine. A large rock slide occurred about 7 kilometers east of Eureka Valley sand dunes. Part of Death Valley. Okay. That's interesting. GG had a 6.2, 6.0. Alaska offshore again. Then the Pumpkin Center one. Okay, we got the Pumpkin Center, which is in Bakersfield. So we have Lone Pine and Bakersfield popping with a 6-1 and a 5-2. And Northridge is just south of that. Minnesota, June, pops with a 4.1. Hawaii a 4.8. Argentina 6.3. Chile, Easter Island 6.4. Costa Rica 5.8. Chile of Augusta 6.6. Colombia 6.1. There's Greece in the mix again at a 5.6. Chile 6.2. We're in September now. Chiapas has a 6.8. Chiapas has a 6.0. Chiapas has a 7.2. Guatemala has a 6. Chiapas has a 6.4. Mid-Atlantic Ridge again, 6.3. Oregon, 5.9. Klamath Falls earthquake. Oregon, 6.0. The same day. Right? So.
Where was the Oregon one?
What's that, bud?
Where was the Oregon one?
Klamath Falls. It's at the border of California, Oregon.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
That's interior, I think, too.
Yeah.
I can look it up, actually, find out where it was.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's interior. About a third of the way from the coast. Actually, right just south of, or just north of the volcano. All right. And then Mexico, Oaxaca, pops with a 6.5. Peru, 5.1. Colombia, 5.2. Papua is just going apeshit again. Guerrero, 6.7.
The opposite side.
Yeah, I mean, but it's Guerrero 6.0. There's Kamchatka again with a 7. Alaska 6.5. Nicaragua 5.9. Oregon again a 5.1. Klamath.
Oregon was going crazy then.
That's December. Yeah.
Because that's 3 quakes.
Yeah. Alaska, mainland Alaska had a little 4.6.
And that was the lead up.
And yeah, that's all the lead up to what was going on. So you can see the main states. You got Pennsylvania. You've got Wyoming. You've got Oregon, California, Arizona, and
so North America was moving big time.
Yeah, and the mid-Atlantic Ridge was moving both times.
Yeah.
So, for earthquakes to happen, you have to make space for things to move. It's a breaking of the rock. It's not just the breaking of the rock. You need a movement so that the one part will shove the other part or leave a gap to it where it's got to fill in. So it's got to be made sense of. 94. Peru popped with a 6.9. Pennsylvania 4.2, 4.6. Then the Northridge. The next freaking day. Interesting how Pennsylvania comes in on both quakes. What limit comes from Pennsylvania and goes through just above northern Cal? I have a list of some of those.
Well, Mendocino comes across and comes out through Virginia, so you're getting pretty close.
Hmm.
But that's for the episode when we answer Vampy's question that she talked about the other night.
Yeah.
Where she was asking about where does the San Andreas run to? Well, it's not just the San Andreas that runs to there, to the MTJ.
Yeah.
It's all the other San Andreas faults that are in North Cali all go to that point. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah. This area that we're talking about right here, and the San Gabriel, it's divided into three. They have it divided into two. It's obviously, to me, three. The northern section, central section, and southern section. We're talking mainly right now, these two quakes in the center section, 1971 and then the 1994. Both of these quakes are roughly 8 miles apart, but they're in this crunching. There we go. There you go. They're in this crunching of I don't know how I would say it, just a bunch of faults merging. And the San Fernando fault, which is in red, and the Vasquez fault is a split off from the San Gabriel. San Gabriel continues north, and it runs into these out here, the Weber fault, right? And then there's other ones. See, they have different names for them, so you just have to find it. San Gabriel fault, the Weber fault goes north, Vincent, and the San Andreas here. Now, logically, if this is getting bound up right here, at the top of 8,000 meters, right, at the Fraser Mountain, right? And here's the 1916, which is right in there. Look at that. Fraser Mountain, right? It's 8,000 feet, 8,800 feet, right? Right up in here. If this is getting all crunched, and that's where all the pushing back on is here.
Yeah.
How would the San Gabriel fault relieve the stress off the San Andreas?
Well, we're going to be, when we do Santa Ynez, which we won't be doing tonight.
Right, we're not doing it tonight, yeah.
But when we do it, one of the big quakes on it was in 1915. There was also a big one in Imperial Valley in 1915. There also was Lassen blew up, and there was a big quake in Nevada. So that would be all. I just saw that 1916 on there. Well, that all would have been the year leading up to the 1916 quake.
Correct.
So yeah, but none of this stuff is related, even though it always has been.
So he says rhetorically. That's why we look at these things,
like if they're all happening within like 1 or 2 years of each other, like even in a general area, and people are not paying attention. They're not, even though there's dates, you can put this all together. I'm doing it just from like Wikipedia, starting with that, and then I can go farther and get more info. Now this isn't even doing the solar side of it or anything like that.
Right.
Get that in or whatever.
Yeah. The reverse thrust compression component that's happening here in the San Fernando Valley and on these two earthquakes, the 71 and the 94, have a transpression component to them, and yet they are definitely a reverse thrust, where the outside edge or the western side is overriding the eastern side, as the eastern side is either being thrust or it's falling. So and as the outside or the western edge is moving north, it's rising up over whatever's back here, and that's just because the the Pacific Ocean's moving up and getting crunched from the resistance here in the San Andreas Fault, because that's the plate boundary. So the pizza boxes are roughly that direction. And I think I do have it? No, I don't have it anymore. Is it open? Okay, yeah, it is. I'm going to share one more time. This is how I'm reading what's being said. All right, so share. I'll put it dark blue. This is a block. This is a block. And this is a block. Right? The thrust is in that direction, pushing over. And that's where these hidden faults, would you call them?
Thrust faults.
Yeah, the thrust faults. Those are happening right. Oops, sorry. Those are happening right here. So one's being thrusted, the blue here is being thrusted over, well, let's say over the orange. And then the orange thrusted over the pink, I guess.
And you'll also find thrust faults wherever there's oil too, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Or I think it's reversed. I think they find oil where the thrust faults are. You know what I mean? But without the difficulties, and I think it has to do with the upgrade, because everything I have now asks me which
thing it wants to save it on.
What wants to open it with.
Yeah.
So that's the difficulty I had. We'll have to get there someday. Yeah. Eden's back. Hey, Eden, how are you? Kitty Cat's out there. Nice to see you. Share Bear. Nice to see you, Share Bear. It's been a minute. Who else we have? Timmy. Good evening to you, bud. Lake Girl. She's up there in Oregon. Yeah, we were talking about Oregon, weren't we? What else? Well, they had a conversation going. I'm not reading it too much. Yeah, Shiver's been here a minute, and then you, of course. I want to thank Beth, Flutter Girl, Quake Cat, Eden, you, of course, Canuck, Lake Girl, just simply Sue, and the San Diego Dance Nan, Share Bear, and Susan, Timmy, and the Walleye King. And if you want to be part of or want to add a suggestion to some of the information that we've given, or you want to add to it, or kind of correct us on something, JSLdiscussion@gmail is the email. And you can, it's a singular word. You can send an email there, or come over here on twitch.tv/Joe Slick Live. Reach out to one of our mods or myself, and leave a comment or whisper, and try to get the information across. That if you'd like to be on a rabbit hole, we can play that game, see where we're going with it, find out where you're coming from and if it's a good fit. But this is already an hour and 54 minutes. We were trying to get it about an hour and a half, but I think the technical difficulties blew 20 minutes.
Well, and we added the tracing the quakes too, but
yeah,
that's for the catch people's attention effect.
Yeah, well, again, we did a research on they don't just happen in a vacuum. The idea that earthquakes just freaking happen, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. There's got to be, earthquakes do happen in a vacuum because something created the vacuum, and then the earthquake happens so they can have somewhere to move. How else do the plates move? Oh, they're just being shoved down, and you just, well, whatever.
Well, the plates are moving all the time. It's just a question of
Yeah.
how much they're gonna move.
Well, 40 years, 45 feet plus in the California desert. That's not 1 millimeter a year. All right. The entire California desert moved. North America moved. Not the Pacific.
Well, we just did 93, but if you went back into 92, you'd be getting into the Landers quake.
Yes, the Landers quake. Yes, sir.
And Big Bear. Wasn't there Big Bear too?
Mm-hmm. And also some other ones. But and then 1999 was Hector Mine.
Yeah.
But the 7.3 Landers, pretty dang powerful.
Because see, you could do it with any one of those quakes. Go back a year.
Yeah, Eden, I agree with you. We just can't say, this is because of that, or this is not because of that. We have to take into the rocks into account the structure, the fault, whether or not liquids placing play a role in it. Also, well digging and removing of oil and putting water into the ground to fill up that well, and then sealing it off. Whatever's going on, it's multiple things. It's not just it's not it's isn't just happen. Now, we may not have triple decker brains.
We have more data now than ever before, so we should be able to figure it out.
Well, I think the AI can, if it's that powerful, it thinks faster and can go through way more information because it has the data already on the X's and O's, or on and off buttons. It might be able to conclude what's going to happen. But we have to do it the way we're doing it, and with other issues and trial and errors. But we're not into forecasting. What we're saying is this is a place of interest, that there's a likelihood something could happen, but nobody's saying, oh, it's going to happen on such and such a day, and it's going to be such and such a size. No. Have I called them? Yeah, 70% of the time. Is that pretty good? Sure. But I'm within a 500-mile error rate. So can somebody rely on that? No.
That article said Southern California has been the busiest since 88. So 88 would have been the year before the San Fran quake. And SoCal was super busy. So that's interesting.
SoCal has just been dead slow the last 10 years. Dead slow. I don't, you have Ridgecrest. That's the only thing that's happened, as far as I can tell. Then you got up in what was it, up here, Bakersfield. And we had a couple in Los Angeles. They were small. They weren't big. I remember growing up, we had some freaking quakes in LA. No kidding. The first one I felt was the 71. That was just the first one. And the amount of damage that sucker created, oh my God. Freeways were closed for months. You couldn't even get into Los Angeles from the Orange County because the 405 had issues and people having to go to work. I don't know how people did it. I just don't remember. I was a little kid. But yeah, crazy stuff, man. There he is. That's why you think California quakes are slow right now. solar stuff, slow it down.
Yeah, I think it's slower now than what it was yesterday. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So what does it say? Space weather. Solar wind right now is 512, which it was up to 700 the other day. We've had a C3 and a C5 flare. 4 sunspots now have beta gamma magnetic fields that harboring energy for M-class solar flares. 48, 49, 52, and 54. 52 and 54 are almost centered on us. The other ones are out in front of us. All right. Northern lights were seen in Mexico. Can you believe that crap? In Mazatlan, Sinaloa. Pretty crazy for them to see it. KP Index says we're going to be in a storm in the next 24, or maybe we're in it now. I don't know. Yeah, the storm is over. As of yesterday, we're petering out. Everything's slowing down. Let's look at the doohickey here. Share this tab instead. Yeah, this is coming up. A little bit of wind. And it should peak out pretty good, 500. That's where we're at now. But no bombers coming off of anything for us, so it's just good. Look at the solar wind. Dynamic pressure stays low. Standoff is 21, which is really soft. No protons at us. The BZ's in the north by 1 point. It's at the equatorial region. Solar wind is 512. Ground magnetics is minuscule. Usually when it's minuscule, something happens. I don't see it ever happen when it's major. With all the solar flares lately, the big storm, do you expect California to throw a bigger quake? Has there been anything in Peru? Anything up in Haida Gwaii did have a quake a little while ago. I wouldn't say it was recent. Here's the flare, that comet that's disappearing. There's a little popper there. And another one that just launched north. You can see. Yeah, that one just popped. That might be going away from us, though. So the eastern limb is busy on that. But tremors, let's look at the tremors. Tremors are all sprawled out. Look at that. That's pretty interesting. Does it mean anything? I don't know. What do you think? And they can't see, or you can't see it. Hold on a second.
We'll see.
There you go. Look at the tremors there. Kind of evenly spread out from Shasta all the way up to Vancouver. We did see some vibrations up there at Port Neal County, September 15th. Yeah. So 3 months after this, we go look at 90 days, September, October, November, December. Yeah, we got to almost Christmas time to see something down in SoCal. I'd be interested to see if Pennsylvania's been acting up. Let me see what the USGS has to say. And go dun 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 terrain.
New Jersey acting up.
Yeah. The 7 days. Just just a little bit North Carolina. We do have something up there in Canada, 2.1, but we do have some 7-day look at the Blanco fractures on the Gorda. Interesting how the look at it's coming off the Elsinore, jumping over to the San Jacinto, then jumping over to the San Andreas, and then jumping beyond. Wow. Small quakes through Big Bear. And now Ridgecrest, Searless Valley. That's an ancient boundary, but I don't know. Arctic Ocean. Yeah, the Arctic Ocean one. That was kind of an odd one, right? Everybody has been talking about that one. Easter Island was a 5.7 yesterday. No, 5 days ago. Let's go. Yeah, I don't see it. USGS doesn't have it. It's got the Sandwich Islands. There's the Arctic. Where the hell is it?
Way up at the top.
Oh.
Above Alaska, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, Beaufort had a 3.8, so 4.6 up there. I've only seen one or two up there before. What's the Canuck land say? They don't say anything.
It's a long weekend though here at Thanksgiving, so they won't report it.
Oh yeah, you have Thanksgiving. So what are you having?
We're having chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah. Because turkey's too big for just two of us.
What? No, it's not.
Oh yeah, we've eaten turkey for 3 weeks.
Well, that's all right. Sandwiches, baby.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's cheap. Well, your sister gonna make a nice meal for you then?
Yeah, we'll have chicken and stuffing and vegetables and potato.
When is that on? Tomorrow?
We might make it tomorrow because we were gonna plan to do it Monday, but it's supposed to storm here and be windy again. So,
what does that matter?
Well, you can't cook if the power's out. Because it's super windy here today too, but we never lost any power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be like super cold by the first of the week. Like only in the 30s for daytime highs. For like a few days, and then it's supposed to warm up again after that. So preview of November.
Going
up here soon.
Yeah, they'll wait till Monday to post it, right?
Yeah, it's a long weekend. They're all
yeah.
on the long weekend. All the weekends are the same. Because there's nobody in the office right now at NRCan, I imagine.
Cashmere at a 4.
Except the janitor, but I think they post one every once in a while.
Western Turkey 4.4. Arctic Ocean had the 4.6. Sandwich Islands had hit just before 1 minute before the Arctic Ocean at a 4.5. Basically, the same quake happened on two spots of the ocean. One in the far south and one in the far north. Wow. Zimbabwe 4-2. Thought I saw a 5 in here.
Well, Guerrero was a 5, wasn't it?
Yeah, Guerrero popping with 3s right now. Greece is still saying hello. Yeah, Guerrero again, 3. Oaxaca, 3. Indonesia had a 5 hours ago. Eden. Offshore Guerrero had a 4.9. I'm 8 hours out. 4-0 Northwest Curil.
And Costa Rica like second before SoCal quakes too, so they got the 6.2.
Right. And Near East of Honshu, 4-9. I'm not seeing, there are 4.9s out there. Costa Rica had a 4.9 9 hours ago. Costa Rica had a 4.6 right before it. Costa Rica had a 4.2 and a 6.2. 4.3. Well, there you go. There's Costa Rica banging real hard there. 10 hours ago. 10 hours, 30 minutes ago. So 2 significant quakes and 2 medium quakes. So you can see it right here. 6.2, 4.3, 4.2, 4.2, 4.6, 4.9. And Baja only had a 2.8. Costa Rica 3.9, 3.6, 3.4. DR had a 3.8, 3.4, 3.8, 3.6. Good swarm. 3.8, 3.9, 3.6, 3.3. Guerrero had a 4.9 afterwards. So Costa Rica pushed it to Guerrero. Comes out on the 4.9. I would surmise that Baja is only going to get a mid 3 to a low 4.
Well, Gulf of California already had 4.1.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's what I was saying. All right. Interesting. Well, thank you, Canuck. It's been fun. I hope we did a little bit better for everybody this week. It's so very, very, very complicated. We can probably spend another night on the same material. But yeah. Again, if you like to add, if you like to help out, feel free. You can leave a gratuity. There's a link right here. You can in chat. You can type the word TIP exclamation point or exclamation point TIP, one of the two, or you can follow us over on YouTube, and you can find the link above, or you can donate, register or whatever, and follow us and subscribe. It's free. And but I do appreciate all your gratuities. They help a lot. And your subscriptions do too. Keeps this thing afloat. Not really, but a little bit. And we're branching out. We're going to be doing a whole lot more for y'all. And Canuck, you have anything else you want to add, bud, for the evening?
No, that's all I can think of for tonight. So I got 2 hours once again.
Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah. Well, we did a lot, but we didn't talk baseball because who cares? Our teams aren't in it. Yeah. Big hugs, y'all. Love you. Have a good rest of your Saturday evening. And we'll be around a little while, but maybe not. Take care of yourselves. Don't get none on you now. Grandkids tonight, he says. Right on, brother. Love the fact that you got your grandkids with you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
In the stream.